Welcome to Salaam Nerds Podcast. We do reviews and recaps of nerd culture, reality TV, and current events from this week.
Yo, it's Salaam Nerds. My name is Dean, aka Watson Dean, and I'm here with my boy Chad.
We drop live episodes on YouTube on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. All episodes can also be found everywhere podcasts are found. Thank you to all our supporters. Please help us by subscribing and leaving a good review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yo, Salaam Nerds. It's your boy Neebs, aka Watchman Neebs, and I am here with the wonderful April. Welcome to the show, April.
Hello. As you can probably tell behind me, I'm now in a different apartment.
New location. All right. Well, congratulations on your move.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very demure, very cutesy.
Not yet. I don't have any of my wall decorations up. I'm like, I might move in 6 months again. We'll see. So what's the point of putting up artwork? I don't know.
That is true. No point in putting up artwork. Just gonna move. How are you sleeping in the new place?
I'm actually sleeping a lot better compared to when I first moved into this apartment complex. So, but then again, it's like my stress is just a little lower.
Well, I asked that because the men in the Bachelor Mansion have not been sleeping well, apparently.
Right. They're having the worst time.
So much so that they actually gave them and gifted them earplugs and sleep caps and like eye mask and all that stuff. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yes, because sweet Charles and Gary went to like a local convenience store and were just going ham for all the things.
So funny. So we are doing episode 3 and 4 today, which I kind of like doing 2 episodes at a time because we did 1 and 2 last time. Now we're doing 3 and 4 because not as much happened, but it does gives us like time to like dive into all of the stuff that's happening, because whereas the other Bachelor stuff is the same thing over and over again, but these guys, these older gentlemen, they're going through very different types of like situations because this is not their first marriage, so, and they're a lot older, so like the issues that are coming up are very, very different. But some of the people personalities, regardless of how they age, seems like they've always been that way. And the main person that I feel like has not aged even though he has aged is Pascal.
I love him so much.
He is so entertaining, but like he is still kind of like a 60-year-old F-boy. That's how I vibe him.
He's such a diva. He doesn't do his own laundry.
I don't cook, I don't clean.
It's like, okay. Now, if this was someone in their very early 20s, I'd be like, no.
Yeah. But why is it endearing for a 60-year-old man? It should be worse. It should be worse.
I was going to ask you that, like, how is this endearing? But then at the same time, he has all the money in the world to like have people do that for him. So that
is true.
It would be different if he expected Joan to do all those things.
That is true. He doesn't expect Joan to. He's like, hey, I'm going to pay for you to live this life also. So that is a very good point that you made. The rest of these guys are living off their like 401k while he still has like a salon business where he's bringing in like tons of money still.
What do you mean I have to do my own laundry? What? He has an anxiety attack over it.
I mean, listen, I may be a little like that too. I don't do my own laundry.
I mean, I'm the kind of person, I will do, the washing, the drying. Once they're clean, I'm like, drop them on the floor. They're clean. I know that they're clean.
Once I started making a certain amount of money, I decided that I am going to put away a few bucks every week, and that is going to go to the wash and fold. And they're going to do my laundry. Because number one, I don't have to have a laundry machine in my house, so it saves room. Number two, I don't like to do it. It's not relaxing. It's annoying. I hate it, and it wastes up too much of our time. And like something that's like really obnoxious about like when you come into when you get like a promotion and you make good money, you're like, now my time is worth this much. So if I'm spending an hour doing laundry, I'm actually losing this much money because that's how much I'm worth. So if I pay somebody to do it for $20 for the whole week and they do all my laundry, then it's a net profit. That's how I think now. I think of it in that form. So I kind of get it. I get Pascal. Like I vibe with him. If you can get people to pay for it, then by all means. But if you're somebody who can't and expects the woman to do all that stuff, that's another problem. That's where it becomes problematic.
Yes, I agree. Also, Neebs, are you a diva too?
I am not a diva. I'm just efficient. That's how
Okay.
I'm an engineer. I'm just like, listen, this is what I'm gonna do inside. I did laundry in college, so it's not like I couldn't do it, and I did it before I made a certain amount of money. So like I can do laundry. I just don't enjoy. I hate ironing. If I could pay somebody just to iron all my clothes, like come to my house, iron all my clothes, and leave, I would do it. Ironing is the worst. I hate ironing. Something about being near that hot iron and like have that ironing board, and the ironing board you have to like open it and it goes creak, that creak noise the ironing board makes, and then like you got I hate it. It's so I hate ironing. It's the worst. And then like steaming is even worse because then I hate the feel of steam.
Fair. I don't like steaming. I do like ironing because I'm like, look at how perfect it looks. So look at it and then carefully fold it so it doesn't get more wrinkles.
Nah, I don't know.
Then,
I hate that heat. Like I don't like to be around that. Me and Jazz learned about something the other day. There is a thing called, hold on, I think I have it here. It is, hold on, it's a cool thing. It's like a spider sense. It's like thermal something, and it is basically it's like people think we have 5 senses, but we actually have 9, and one is called like thermal something, and that is sensing heat, because you can sense heat without touching it. And when I iron something, I feel that heat and it's annoying and I don't like it.
It's overstimulating for you. I don't like it.
It is. I don't like it. But you know what? Like I do it. If I'm at a hotel, like I go on a trip for work, the first thing I do, open up all my suitcases, iron all my clothes, hang them up so I don't have to do it every single day. If I'm going to go through the pain of ironing, I'm going to do it in one shot. All right. We really veered off the track.
I know. This is what happens, Jazz. You are not here. This is what happens.
To be fair, Jazz doesn't get me back in line. He veers me off even more.
Oh, fair. I'll try to corral you as specific. But no, we both have ADHD. This is a bad time.
I know. I'm getting retested in for ADHD and stuff like that. That's I'm going through that whole thing. All right, back to Pascal. What were your thoughts when that convertible came up and he was so excited and he was like, "Listen, I'm going to drive," and she's like, "No, I'm going to drive," and he's like, "Okay." I like he almost went a little super toxic masculinity on us there, but he pulled it back.
When he starts hopping up and down like, "Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, my normal life has come back to me."
I know.
You mean you're going to try? Okay. I'll enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was funny. And then they go to this hotel and they get serenaded by Wayne Newton, which is a big get. I mean, he's old now, so maybe not as big as back when it was in the 90s. But I remember watching TV shows in the 90s and Wayne Newton would show up on random sitcoms and it would be a big deal. He was a big star.
I'm trying to... It's been a couple weeks since I've watched episode 3 of Gold Bachelorette. I'm like, who's Wayne Newton?
He came into their house. He was kind of like chubby. I think he's a Hawaiian guy. He's Polynesian or something.
Maybe.
He sang Donka Shane, something.
Oh, yes, him. The guy who's had a lot of plastic surgery ever since. And
he was not looking all natural.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
half
no.
the plastic in the ocean is in his face.
Oh my God.
Just kidding, just kidding. I don't want to offend Wayne Newton fans. I don't know if he had like an army like Taylor Swift. I don't know if they'll come
Oh,
after me.
I highly doubt it. I'm pretty sure the majority of people watching Golden Bachelorette, who's this guy? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, everything went wrong in plastic surgery and Botox.
yeah. All right. And then they have dinner at the fake Eiffel Tower, which I thought was pretty funny. Part of me thinks they're like, hey, we're having a date at the Eiffel Tower. We have to get the French guy now.
Yeah.
Honestly, let me ask you that. Do you think, is it out of the realm of possibilities that they pick the one-on-ones based on where they think the dates would best suit that person? Because this was the date catered very much to Pascal's lifestyle. And you got the Eiffel Tower, you got Wayne Newton, you got Penthouse, you got the car. And I feel like they were like, hey, we're gonna have a date with all of these things. Obviously, he's the guy that's gonna have this date, right? Or do you think it's the other way around? They're like, hey, we're gonna go on a date with Pascal, so we're gonna do all these things. Which way do you think it is?
Before I answer, do you think Pascal got the pretty woman date?
It's almost like it's a male version of the Pretty Woman date. It kind of is.
Yes. Well, to answer your question, I think it is very plausible that they kind of pick the contestants for what date would best suit them. And the reason why I say that is because, especially in regular Bachelorette season, the producers are like, okay, what's your greatest fear? And then they make you do that date.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And so I think it's possible that, they didn't strictly plan Pascal to have this date, but it's like, oh, he would love this. Let's give him this date. He got the pretty woman date.
He did. But the Pretty Woman date is only fun when you come back and brag about it to the other women and they get jealous and they cry. That's the only fun part of the Pretty Woman date.
You're so messy, Neeps.
Oh my God. What was that girl, Olivia, with the teacup, and she wanted that tea party date, and she cried and cried and cried.
Yes.
And I was like, yes, this is what I want. This is what I live for. Your pain is my enjoyment.
So bad.
It's okay. She did blackface. We're okay.
What season was that?
That was Zach.
Olivia.
Zach Shellcross. The one right after Gabby and Rachel.
Right. I cannot remember anyone from his season.
Yeah. Me neither. I don't remember anyone from his season either. All right.
That's just a lot.
But they did get to talk to Pascal, and Pascal did talk about how he had very humble beginnings. And you know what, man? Sometimes, when people have humble beginnings, I'm a sucker for it. I'm a sucker. I grew up in the projects. I grew up in Newark. Parents came here with nothing. Same thing. So I'm like, you know what, man? I got a soft spot for the little immigrant.
Yeah, I like those stories too.
Yeah. All right. Back at the mansion, the next day, we have a kickball day, to the date where I was like, oh my God, I hope they all have Medicare, because they were gonna get hurt.
As soon as, who was it? He tried to kick the kickball, and he was like, oh, my hamstring, like immediately. I was like, why are you all doing this?
Oh my God, same thing. I was like, oh my God, these people are gonna get hurt. But she did get them post-game massages, which was nice. They all got massages afterwards.
Yes, but the most wholesome part is Charles, who had never played kickball before.
Yeah.
He's like, what do I do? What do I do? How do we play? And they were just like, just go walk up to the plate and try to kick the ball.
Yeah.
And he kicked the ball, and everyone cheered. It was just so wholesome and shit.
God, I love Charles. He's so great. I really, really like him. What are your thoughts about the conversation Charles had with, I believe, Guy, who's the doctor, and he talked about his wife who had the aneurysm, and for 12 years, or how many years it was, he was like, I couldn't figure out, if she died from an aneurysm, why was there blood? And he was like, oh, that's actually very common, because when you have an aneurysm or some kind of seizure, it's very common that you end up biting your own tongue. And that's where the blood from her mouth came from.
Mhm.
And it was really cool to see that because a rush of like relief came over him. He's like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, that makes so much sense." And he's like instantly just like relieved. He's like,
Mhm.
"What did I miss? What happened? Something doesn't make sense." And when he said that, it just made sense for him. And I felt so happy for him in that moment.
Mhm. I thought that, him kind of this little detail of his wife's passing just has haunted him for so long,
Yeah.
and it made me wonder, like, does he have, like, some sort of, like, survivor's guilt about it? And plus, like, maybe he was thinking to himself, "Did I miss something
Right.
when my wife was dying?" And then that little detail alone, maybe that could have saved her.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, I saw the relief that just kind of washed over him when Guy was explaining, "No, like, this is probably what happened. We see it a lot in, like, these kinds of cases," and, like, um, we're gonna probably talk about it in a little bit, but Guy was very kind about explaining to Charles
Yeah.
about what probably happened, and that just kind of that, um almost like kind of a closure in a way of all those years ago for Charles.
Yeah.
So I love Charles so much.
I know, he's so great. I really love him, and he was such a kind guy. Um, no, you're right. It was a really great moment. I really liked that scene.
Mhm.
I did get into a little argument with people that I was watching it with. I was watching it with a group of people,
Mhm.
and because of, like, him talking about his ex-wife, we were talking about, like, and then Joan later talks about her husband, John, and how, like, it's tough difficult to get over him. We were talking about what was the appropriate amount of time
Mm.
to grieve before you move on, right? And the
Mhm.
people that I was with said 1 year, and I'm like, "You're a monster." Like, w I was like, and they're all doctors, all of them, and they're like, "Clinically, that's how long you can grieve before we, like, diagnose you as, like, something," but I'm like, "Yeah, but, like, this is not clinically." Like, I mean, if
Mhm.
I died, you move on within 1 year, I will come back and haunt you too. I swear to God.
I will haunt your asses
I
until the
will
day you die.
I will haunt you for every year that you did not wait for me.
I really think, to answer your question, Eves, I do think it depends on the person. Um,
That's what everyone says, but I think that's the safe political
well,
answer.
I guess you're just like, "No!"
I
But
want I want the juicy details. I want the hot take.
okay, here's let me expand on my answer then. So
Alright.
say someone has a very slow cancer, it's like ebbing
Mm,
and flowing, they're relieved from the cancer and then they get it back again, and
mm,
just kind of those years of suffering, and as a potentially a partner who is witnessing their loved one go through cancer, like they're kind of already grieving the loss of their partner.
yeah.
And so if you really take the time throughout all that stress and stuff to just kind of try to come to terms with what is happening, you
Mm,
can move on a little faster.
that is fair.
And I mean, kind of using myself as an example where I was grieving the end of my marriage for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And so when people were, like, raising their upper eyebrows at me, like, you're dating pretty soon after your divorce is done, it's like, no, like, why should I grieve any longer
Yeah.
for
No.
something that was no longer benefiting me?
Absolutely. But, like, I do think like, getting on with your life a little faster with a divorce is different than
That's
a
fair.
a debt a debt. But I
That's
do but the fact that you brought up the cancer thing actually does resonate with me, and it does make a lot of sense because 'cause you're pretty much, like, pre-grieving if
Mhm.
for lack of a better word, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and the same thing may be said for early onset Alzheimer's, where
Yeah.
your partner is still physically there,
Yeah.
but their mind just slowly deteriorates, and you're slowly losing your partner in the process, and that's its own can of worms of
Yeah.
very complicated grief right there.
That's true. That's true. Well, listen, if I get hit by a bus and we dated for 10 years, you need at least 3 years to get over me. That's my rule. 1 year to grieve, 2 years to, get back on your feet, and
Mhm.
the 3rd year to start dipping your toes in the dating scene.
Mhm.
So that's just for me. Anyone who dates me, that's the rule.
It kind of makes me think of Patton Oswalt. His first wife is the one who found the Golden State Killer.
Oh, yeah.
She wrote that book. I have it somewhere,
I heard
but
about that.
I'll Be Alone in the Dark. And like she, by herself, maybe another person was involved, but she was able to slowly connect the dots to finally figure out who the Golden State Killer was. But before she finished her book, she had a heart attack and died at home.
Yeah.
And so then Patton Oswalt like helped finish the book and published it. But then he moved on fairly quickly, probably a year or two after she passed.
Mm.
And so that's kind of where I understand where you're coming from, Neeps, as far as like, no, you need to grieve for a lifetime after I'm gone.
I wanna be missed. Yeah.
Yes, please.
And you know what? And this and I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying this is a character flaw of mine. I am known to be petty. And as a ghost, I will be even more petty.
You just love mess,
This
Neeps.
is a character flaw of mine. I am not just saying that this is the right thing to do. I'm just saying this is the Neves thing to do. All right, back to the show. Back to the show. Lots of tangents. We also go on a date with Joan and Jonathan, and they go horseback riding. And then Jonathan tells her, "Hey, I was with my wife for so many years. One day she just woke up and out of the blue says, I want a divorce." And Joan was like, "Oh my God, wow." And I'm just like, bullshit. There's something more to the story. There's never a out of the blue I want a divorce thing. There's always a story that goes with it. I feel like if we asked her, we would get a different recollection of what happened. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I completely agree. I think, um, he didn't give any details, so I can't really say a whole lot. But to me, like those kinds of things, it was probably years of a breakdown of communication and it wasn't going anywhere. And maybe they both were trying in their own little ways, but like she was like, I can't, I tried.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I thought. I agree that there's probably more to the story, but unfortunately for now, we do not know.
We do not know. We don't know. So we can just speculate. But that wasn't the worst part of this episode. The worst part was Captain Kim's sing along.
Sweet Captain Kim.
He wanted to do it so bad, and everybody was just like, "No,
No.
bro, we're not doing this. This is not cool. This is cringe." And then one guy decided to do it. I think it was Guy again.
I
So
think it was Guy.
Guy was a highlight of this episode. Not only did he help out Charles, but he also was like, you know what? I'll sing with you. And to do the "We Are the Mentioned Men," the something mentioned men.
It's like Captain Kim just wanted to rally the troops. That's
I
all
know.
he wanted to do. And everyone's like, no.
No. And then when he left, Guy was like, "I am the captain now."
I am the captain now. But we will sing it one last time. We are the mentioned men, the merry, merry mentioned men.
That was nice though. He came out and he was like, "Oh, are you allowed to be out here?" He goes, "Yeah." And then they sing it one last time and he goes on his way. Very cute, very demure. We liked it.
I love how you keep referring to very mindful, very demure.
I know. So sometimes like a meme gets in my head, and that's just it. That's just it. There's nothing you can do.
Good.
You know what's the other one that's in my head right now? It's like in the club, we're all fam. Like in the club, we're all fam. Like what does that mean? Like in the club, we are all family.
I
Have you
hadn't
seen
heard that one yet.
No, oh my god, that one is so funny. I love that one. In the club, we are all fam.
It's better than hot food.
Oh god, you know that Haktua stuff makes me so sad. She has
Me
the
too.
she has the number 3 podcast in the country. We've been
How?
doing this for 4 years, bro. We you know how much money we make a year? $15.
Yes.
We make $15 a year on this podcast. We
Ne-
haven't even been able to monetize on YouTube yet.
Neebs, you can spend that on the wash and fold.
Way to bring that back around. I like that. April, you're getting good at this. You're getting good at podcasting. That was good.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
solid.
you. Thank you.
You've gotten a lot of practice. You can put Salaam Nerds on your resume once you start your own podcast, which will
I'm
probably
like,
go number 4, and we'll still be here making $15 a year.
yes. Yes. All for the wash and fold. We
Wash
love
and
it.
fold, baby. Wash and fold. All right. Episode number 4 starts off with Caitlin Bristow, who is 39, coming into the show and asking these men in their 60s to strip. And obviously that'd be very problematic, and that's something that they should not be doing. But the show found a way around it because they tell us that it will be for charity. They got away with it. Those bastards. Smart. They're so smart.
I can't.
Ah, man. And then this begs the question that every man asks every year. Could you imagine if they asked the women to do this?
I was literally thinking that I watched the episode earlier today. The
Yeah.
entire time I'm like, if women were asked to do this, like,
They would riot.
the riots would happen. Grab your pitchforks and torches, sue ABC.
Yeah. But to be fair, it's not like they're any better to women. They do just as
Yeah.
much problematic things to women too.
Oh yeah.
Just differently. And they did have them do a lingerie pillow fight once. I do remember that.
I remember that. I literally thought of that. I remember that too.
And one of the ladies was a lawyer. Like, imagine having passed the bar, passed med school, have a law degree, a practice, and then having to fight other women in lingerie with a pillow. So degrading.
And one of the women, maybe it was the same woman, she said lingerie instead of lingerie.
No, it was a different woman. I remember someone did say that. Lingerie.
And it lives rent free in my head.
That's so funny. That's
Lingerie.
so funny. Oh man, but yes. All right. And then she also calls Kelsey's dad a DILF, and she says he's someone I would like to fool around with. Caitlin, she has no shame. She is unhinged.
I am so
And
over it.
And the thing is, like, I think people were like okay with it for a while. She's like, oh, she's outrageous. But after she said that stuff about Tayshia, it left a real bad taste in everyone's mouth. And people are not about her. And I feel like the show brought her back on to try to salvage her reputation. But I don't know. She's definitely lost a lot of fans after that. And this was a way to kind of like bring her back. I wouldn't be surprised if they made some kind of agreement with her and did it so she can get more followers back.
Well, the thing is that the filming of this episode probably took place a few months ago. And
fair.
She said that nonsense about Tayshia a few weeks ago.
You're right.
Yeah, I really liked Caitlin when she was on her season.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But ever since like this past summer where she broke up with her fiance Jason at the time, and then saying all those things about, or when did they break up?
I don't know, but it was messy.
A million years ago. And then saying all those very hurtful things about Tasha just to get a cheap laugh.
Yeah.
And plus, she spent a lot of time around Tasha for hosting the Bachelor franchise at the time when Chris Harrison left.
They co-hosted it, and she had to console her for the exact man that she was crying over. She went and dated. And then when Tasha said she had a problem with it, she goes, "Oh, I was annoyed, and I wanted to send her a picture of me, his something." And I was just like, "Yo, that is not okay."
Tasha deserves the world. I'm so glad she's out of the pit.
Yeah.
Fly free, our sweet bird. Goodbye.
Oh man. Also, like when they're doing this whole strip thing, they're playing Lady Gaga's Disco Stick, and I'm just like,
did they spend all their budget on this?
oh man.
There goes the wash and fold laundry, everybody.
There goes the wash and fold budget right there. Yeah. Well, speaking of wash and fold, did you see Pascal bragging about his washboard abs?
Such a diva, and I love him.
He's like, yeah, I'll strip, man. I work out 6 times a day. I'm down. But the person they said had the best routine was actually Jonathan, and they were like, bro, have you done this before? I think Jonathan has a little secret. I think he has done it before.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. So that was the trashy part of the episode. But then it gets really sad when we found out that Chalk, his mom had passed away while he was filming on the show. And that was really sad. And he talked about how amazing his mom was, and he left for the funeral. And I was like, I thought that was it. I thought he was done for. And then he magically comes back at the end. So I don't know what the time period is between that and then, but that was really cool to see him come back, but very surprising.
First, Neeps, how many times is this show going to make me cry?
Makes you cry a lot. Makes you cry a lot.
Crying every episode.
I know, it's a lot. I watched it with a friend of mine who does not like the show, because she thinks it's horrible. But like the fact that it was like the older people, she really enjoyed it. She really liked it.
Did you also notice that when Chalk came back,
yeah,
he already had a rose?
Oh, I did not notice that.
And when they came into the rose ceremony, he and the 2 other guys who had the one-on-one dates had roses, and it was confusing. I was like, well, how did this work?
Well, maybe they just gave him a free pass because he was not there the whole week, so he could not get time with her, and therefore he just got a pass, and they just gave him like a free rose for this section.
Yeah.
Right? Because like if you miss out on time, you kind of like are at a disadvantage. So and if she has an actual connection with him, like that's the main point of the show. The main point of the show is not a game show. It's to see who she has the strongest connection with. And whether he left the show or not, if she has a strong connection with him, very plausible for him to just get the rose. Though, and to your point, like she could have just given him the rose. Like he didn't need to already have it.
Yeah. So I'm just like, what is the timeline of this whole entire thing? Because did he already come back? They already greeted each other, but then they filmed this part later. That's
April.
what I'm confused.
You're like an investigative journalist these days, man. That's such a good point.
Thank you. My dad was a homicide detective. I think I get it from him.
What? I'm here with Batman's daughter. What the hell is going on here? Something we learn new about you every day.
Every time I'm on, there's something new.
See, like I love Batman. I'm the biggest Batman fan, but I could not be a detective. I have the worst situational awareness, which you will find out this February.
I'm so excited. I will have to tell my boyfriend, like, please watch this with me, and he will, because he watched Love is Blind with me and it was smack talking, and I was like, I'm loving this so much.
That's what happens. That's what happens. Yep.
Every
Yep.
time. Every
All right.
time.
But all right. So he does that. He came back, but Joy actually had the date with Guy this
Mm-hmm.
time, the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and the doctor they go, and they have a date. I forget what they do. Did they get a massage? They did something. I forget what they did.
What? No, it was not. No, that's not acupuncture. That was Love is Blind. See,
It's
it's all
all,
interweaving.
but here's the thing. I don't remember what they did,
I
but
don't remember either.
the thing about Guy is I saw that he posted something and he also had an issue with an ex and did something crazy. And was it a restraining order? What was it?
Yeah,
What happened with him? God damn, why are, even the old men, they can't, even
I
they can't.
know.
We men are just scum. Yeah, y'all can't find 30 of us in like a group of like 1,000 people applying. You can't even find 30 that are not problematic.
I know. So I don't remember if it was a temporary restraining order or whatnot. At that point I was like, I'm just going to watch the show for the Salaam nerds. I'm doing it for you guys.
Yeah.
But after both Gil Ramirez and Guy, I was like, I'm sick of this.
Like in the last 3 months, we've had 3 men from Bachelor Nation who've had restraining orders. We had Devin, Gil, and Guy.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I'm so over it. I'm so over it.
So
Anyway.
I saw his message, and he basically said that he had some altercation with somebody from his life, and like they resolved it, and he wants, it's a bad part of his life, and he like moved on from it, learned from it. Typical blah blah blah. Apologies. All of these people making mistakes and putting out apologies have ruined it for everyone else, because now no apology seems sincere to me, because everyone's kind of understands how to make the apology, how to make it sound like you're taking accountability, how to make it sound like you have empathy. They know the right words. They know what to say. And it's just like a script now. And I don't really believe any apology ever anymore.
This is why we need Dr. Kirk Honda on the podcast, because he has literally come up with an apology, like structure of a good apology, an authentic apology.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And so it's like we should just present him all these apologies and be like, all right, read them.
Yeah, redline them. Knock them out for us. Who is it? Dr. Kirk what? Connors?
Honda.
Okay. Dr. Kirk Connors, I believe, is a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
The lizard.
Honda.
Yeah. All right. And then the people that got eliminated was Charles, Gary,
No!
Pan, and Gil. I believe they got. Charles leaving was the saddest. I love Charles. But one thing that we didn't talk about, and I think it was last episode, Gary shows up and he talks to her and he goes, have you ever considered that none of these people could be your person? And I was like, Gary, just because none of the people were your person doesn't mean you have to put this bad juju in the air. What's wrong with you?
And I love how he over-delivered it too. Did you ever consider the possibility that none of these people are your person? It's like, are you William Shatner, first of all? Second of all, shush, Gary, shush. Don't rain on Joan's parade. You had your chance. You flubbed it somehow. I lost track.
Yeah. I don't know what he did to that poor woman, but she ended up divorcing him after a couple of months.
It didn't take very long.
It didn't take very long. How are you going to get divorced at like your age, bro? What's going on with you?
Yeah.
Ugh, man. All right. Well, that's all the stuff that happened on these 2 episodes. Did we miss anything? Is there anything we did not talk about?
Was there not a second one-on-one in episode 4?
If it was probably not important. I don't know. I think Chalk had the one-on-one and then he had to go away because of his mom.
Maybe. Oh no, it was Jonathan? No, Jackson? No. What was his name? The ice skating date.
There was an ice skating date. Oh my god, I completely blanked out on that. I think I didn't notice that at all. I do vaguely remember some ice skating. I have no idea who that was or what they said.
Are we just slowly disassociating whenever we're watching them?
If something is like
Bachelorette.
boring, I literally just zone out. This show is getting hard to watch these days.
If Charles is not on screen, I am not paying attention.
Charles will always be in charge of our hearts.
Yes. And then he said, "My time has come." And then he just whisked away into the wind. I'm like, "No, Charles, please come back."
I would watch a show with just Charles. Him doing his everyday life things.
Yes. He's so wholesome and
going
sweet.
to the grocery store, buying presents for his daughters, like just doing random wholesome things and just narrating it. This is the man who needs a YouTube channel. Get this man a YouTube channel.
Get him a podcast. Get him a deal at the number 4 podcast in the world. We'll happily take number 5.
Yeah, maybe I'll just offer him like a role on our podcast and just come on our podcast. We'll offer you $13 a year. He can take our whole budget.
Well, isn't he like a financial person as well?
Yeah, but we need to make money before we can use a finance person.
That's true. But if we take the $15 that you make in the year and give it to him and he can invest it, and then you can have way more money for wash and fold.
You sound like Patrick. What if we take this money and put it over here?
We just need to pick up the town and put shit somewhere else.
Oh man. All right. Once we get to SpongeBob quotes, that means the show is over. We're about done.
Oh.
And we still can't remember anything from this ice skating date.
I can't. I'm sorry. The guy seems sweet. I don't even remember his name. I'm sorry. It started with a J.
And you just watched it like an hour ago. I watched it like a week ago.
I tried so hard. I was watching it and I was like, "Oh, this is cute," and then like disassociated. Apparently,
it's hard. It's hard out here. All right. Well, guys, if anyone remembers the last date, let us know what happened. Put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. We'll try to figure it out. Send me an email. Tell me what I forgot. But until next time, guys. Salaam, nerds.
Bye.